What's up? This is Andre Allen, and when I listen to satellite radio, I listen to Sirius Hits 1.
That's good. Just make it a little funnier.
Funnier?
Put a little stank on it.
Stank.
Nice and funny. Go.
What's up, mother? This is Andre Allen. Or scratch my nuts, that is.
First take was good.
Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. We're all here. Christy, Matt, Ben, Alonzo. We're talking about top 5, which I didn't get to see. Not for lack of wanting to, but they didn't really offer it at times I could go. So these folks did, and they will tell you all about it.
They should make it more convenient to you, I think.
Yes.
They should bring it to your house.
Yeah, I think, yes. Chris Rock needs to come over. I'll make tea. We'll watch it.
They should do a read-through. Right.
Table read in my place. There we go.
So top 5, this is a shockingly good Chris Rock film. He's not really got a great track record as far as the films he's directed. This is the time he directs, and he wrote the script, and he stars as Andre Allen, who is a stand-up comic turned film star, who is trying to be taken seriously. He desperately wants to be taken seriously. He has a film about the uprising of Haitian slaves, which nobody cares about, but the whole film takes place during a long day of press, from radio interviews to junket interviews, and Rosario Dawson plays this New York Times reporter who is following along with him and talking to him for a big piece she's going to write, and his entire day kind of unravels with her right there watching. Take a look.
In 2005, Time magazine voted today's guest the funniest man in America. By 2010, the former stand-up hit it big with Hammy the Bear 1, 2, and 3.
You got hammer time. It's hammer time.
You can also see him getting married to reality star Erica Long.
Where's my kiss?
Do we have to do this on camera?
Not on camera, it doesn't exist.
I don't feel like doing funny movies anymore. I don't feel funny.
Save some of that stuff for your Times interview.
I just want a decent story. You give me a couple of really honest things, I will be more than fair.
This is Chelsea Brown. She's doing a story on me. No snitching.
Come to me, baby girl. I'm gonna turn over like an apple pie.
You know what? You just ate an apple pie, you fat mother.
Things are changing. You need to wake up and smell the progress.
No. You things never change.
Thank God things
Hey,
change.
look at this black man trying to get a cab in New York City. Taxi, yeah! Why don't you just skip the hack questions and go right to something good?
All right. How come you're not funny anymore?
Everybody's funny or drunk. You ever see Oprah drunk? She's hysterical.
This my town. Anything you need, you let a brother know. Weed, drink, serve. You want some of that, sir?
I got married a lot of times. I wasn't into the wedding. I should have been into the guy, as you should be into the girl.
My top 5 is Jay, Nas, Scarface, Rakim, and then I might let Biggie get in there. My 6th man's LL Cool J. Before the show!
Before the show! This movie is really fun. I laughed my ass off.
It's the best Woody Allen movie in 20 years.
It's Woody Allen. It is. It totally is his Woody Allen movie completely.
And Chris Rock said on Howard Stern that like he can't help but be Albie Singer in the movie. And,
Yeah.
You know, and so it is. It's funny. It's really funny, and it's, you know, he's the funniest guy I've ever seen in my life, and it's not really close. And I get that I missed, you know, Richard Pryor in his heyday, and but he is so consistently funny and boundary pushing. And then you read his interview with Frank Rich, where you're like,
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ, this is as perceptive a working actor as there is in Hollywood about the world around him, and it hasn't translated into. He's only directed a few movies. I think this is the 3rd movie he's directed.
He did I Still Love My Wife, right?
And the one where he runs for president?
Right.
Yeah.
Head of
Head of
State.
State.
Yeah.
I like
And
Head
then,
of State.
But I didn't mind Head of State either. But like then and his acting performances when he's really trying to they haven't matched, come close to matching the enormous talent and honesty that you see. He's such an honest comedian, and it's been unable to translate into an acting role. But then it sort of did here, you know.
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so maybe it was because he was playing a version of himself, but I suspect that he has a lot more to do as an actor also, that he's, you know, under the right direction and and now sort of, again, with a believable role, like a person you could, even though it's a gazillionaire actor who's been, you know, making hits and sequels to those hits, a Stallone-like character almost, but nonetheless, somehow that's way more believable than Kirk McKenzie, who he played in Grown Ups 1 and 2. You know, that guy didn't. I don't believe that guy's around. This guy, I believe.
No, but there's a certain goofiness to him still, right? Like in close-ups, when he's sitting in the back of the car with Rosario Dawson, he's talking. There's a kind of a goofiness to his face, but it's endearing and it works for him in this scenario because he is kind of playing a version of himself. I mean, not 100%, but it's rooted in a recognizable pop culture reality. And Ben, you mentioned other comics that you love and how great he is. There's a great appreciation for comedy, for pop culture, for rap culture, for how it shapes us and how it matters. And I think he definitely recognizes all of that in this film.
It's a celebration of comedians, no question.
Absolutely. I think that also that one of the things this movie does really well is, look, like he's playing a guy who's got different problems than I think the average person, right? I mean, it's this somewhat of a meditation on fame and success and artistic success, but it's still really accessible. And I think that this is a really smartly written movie. The walking and talking that sometimes in, say, like an Aaron Sorkin piece, especially in the newsroom, can feel really
This is not
preachy.
an Aaron Sorkin movie.
No, but I mean, it
Right.
all flows very naturally,
Totally.
and they sell it. I loved this movie. I think that this is one of my favorite movies of the last 8 or 10 months. There is one element of it that I think is kind of problematic, and it's the boyfriend.
Right, that feels kind of wedged in, yeah.
And it's
a convenient little twist,
favorite part,
right.
Yeah.
But one thing they do really beautifully here is he is a recovering alcoholic. And Rosario Dawson's character also is in recovery. And the way that they seamlessly blend that into the story never feels preachy, never feels forced. It's just like, here's how we are living our lives now in recovery, and they bond over that. And the struggles to stay sober when there is so much temptation out there. And they do that in a really beautiful, really believable way.
And they play it small and natural and honest, as opposed to, a lot of movies will do that where it's like somebody has a binge and it's this huge, giant element of the movie, and it's like, oh God, the music starts swelling and everything goes bad, and you're supposed to look at it in this horror, and it gets melodramatic in a lot of films. This one, it flirts with that, but then it kind of draws back, and
what I love is they wish they weren't recovering alcoholics. They wish either that they never had to cross that bridge, or that they could still drink, and they don't, and they're not. But then that moment when you recognize, because they've each been in recovery for a significant number of years, I think 4 years for both of them, there's a moment where he says to her, no, you're supposed to be whatever it is, completely honest.
Rigorous honesty.
Rigorous honesty, and you realize, like, that landed because you're like, oh, like he doesn't talk about it every day, but it matters to him. And so he calls somebody else out who's also in recovery when they're not following that principle.
Well, it's how he tries to reestablish his own identity without alcohol. He doesn't know how to be funny without alcohol.
Yeah,
he built his career and built this empire on being fueled by the drugs and the alcohol. So it's like, how do you still maintain a sense of self, a sense of creativity without relying on that? And that's fascinating.
How does this compare to Funny People? I'm just curious, because it sort of sounds like it's treading into similar.
An hour shorter.
It's an hour shorter and 1,000 times better.
It has better energy to it.
Okay.
I mean, it's really zippy.
I sort of liked Funny People, but this is much better.
This is like quick jokes. 'Cause a lot of it is going to different Sirius XM radio stations, and that's cut really well. He goes back to his old neighborhood and sees his old friends and his old girlfriend.
Ben Vereen plays his dad.
Oh, wow.
That's a really nice.
Tracy Morgan's in it.
Really good. Tracy Morgan.
What's her name? Who's on SNL now?
Leslie Jones.
It's like a supporting cast.
JB Smoove is in this. And
He's great.
He's so good in this.
He's terrific. And then there's a whole sort of, again, non-preachy but thoughtful and interesting positioning of the Kim Kardashians of the world, of the reality world, of being a star just for being a star. Gabrielle Union is really good.
And it manages to do, it manages to make her look like a real character without being, again, really melodramatic, and still being kind of light and funny, and yet, like, okay, there's a little bit of self-awareness here.
You're supposed to laugh at her, and then she has a moment in the movie where you're like, oh.
Yeah, you feel for her.
You really feel for her.
There's an honesty there that you don't expect in a character that could have been over the top.
I just think we should and Jerry Seinfeld is in it, and he's funny. Like,
there's some cameos.
There's some cameos, and they're good. But they're written cameos. They're not, there's a purpose to Jerry Seinfeld being in when he's in. And then also the comedians who you see when he goes when he does a little routine are like clearly guys that and a woman specifically who you must know. You're like, oh, Chris Rock likes her. Like Chris Rock thinks she's funny and he wants to help her.
Right.
It's important, yeah.
It's important.
They go to the Comedy Cellar where the Louis
The opening
credits
segments,
end up.
Right,
yeah.
and half his
That's where he walks
performances in
down.
Louis
He was
are in.
supposed to be in it.
Louis C.K. was going to be in
But
it?
he couldn't, and scheduling kept him out of it.
Anyway, it's really fun. It's really great. What are your numbers, please?
I'm moving mine up. I
Okay.
want to get over. I was at 8.8. I want to get it over 9, so I'll pull it up to 9.1. That'll make it easy for you just to
All right.
score up a little.
I'm going to say 8.7. You're going to say
9.
So what's
It's a
our number?
damn near
then?
perfect
So our
number.
number's now a 9.
8.9.
8.9. Okay. So yeah, 8.9 is really fun.
Yeah,
where
and it's
is
at
it?
90% on the tomato meter right
Yeah.
now.
Go find it.
I will see it.
You should. You'd like it.
I will.
Bye.